What's up everybody, it's Kiyodo and welcome back to another SMT Dx2 video. Today we're going to be going over the new demons and spirit merge buffs from the version 2.6.0 update. This brings in the new demon race Drake, which has some different implications here. There's some things with poison. I feel like they're trying to do something about endures because it's kind of how the meta is going with insta-kills from Masakato and maybe from other units that we might be getting in. So in any case, we're going to be going from top to bottom here, looking at Drake Vasuki. So this is going to be the newest of the 5 stars. It comes with Insanity on its transferable skill, which is pretty nice if you really need that, I guess. It's good for itself. I'm not too sure how good it will be with poison, but we're going to have to see because it has some interesting implications. We'll be going over that. So first off, Insanity, pretty decent skill for stats effects. You know this is going to be an ailment type of demon. Ice boost because it is an ice-based mage, so that could be interesting. And then it has a unique skill here, Hala Hala, which let's go ahead and take a look here. It inflicts ice damage 5 times randomly and 50% chance to inflict poison. So basically you're getting 70% chance because of the insanity. You can boost that up if you want to. Doesn't seem like you really need to unless you're trying to inflict on units that have the ailment resistance. So I don't know, we'll see about that. Poison, I'm not too sure how strong that really is, but if it can break through an Enduring Soul, then could be pretty useful. In any case, leveling it up gives you an MP reduction of -1 if you max it out. So a cost of 5 MP is not too bad, although I'm not too sure how strong that will be. I feel like this is more for the damage itself, especially because it's ice. That could be pretty good against units that don't cover that. I'd say mostly for the fast teams, but then again, I don't know how strong this unit will be. The magic stat though, over 200, is pretty good, and on top of that you have a luck stat of 171, so you're most likely going to be able to land those, and with 156 agility, it's a relatively fast unit, so I can't see it being in a slow team, but yeah, it does have a fire weakness though, so that could possibly be a problem, though the Drain Ice is pretty useful if you're pairing that with Rama. So I'm not sure if it's going to be with a Rama team, but it feels like it could be. You have to really think about that because Rama is just so powerful of a unit. You kind of have to play around it. And looking at the Spirit Merge buffs here, before we go into the next demon. Ice damage, that's okay. And second panel, minus ice damage received in, so like whatever. So those first two are not that great. Ice damage, I guess, is okay, but it's not exactly the buffs that you'd want. It's not as good as it could be, is what I'm saying. And looking at the third one, Chain Effect is probably the most important one that you'd go for, although it's not too big of a deal either because it's just the Auto Racunda kinda. So reduces all enemies defense by 20%, which is okay. I mean, doesn't seem like you really need to buff this one with Spirit Merge, so that is kind of a plus. And looking at the skills though, Butcher is most likely what you're going to be going for. Concentrate, really can't see that. Mabufu Dine I feel like is okay, especially if you're doing this for PvE. Not sure how important that is, or Teal if you really want to cover everything, although it's just null, so whatever. Moving on to Drake Fafnir. So that has some, or quite a bit of new unique skills here. So first we'll go over Blight, which is a new transferable. It's a physical attack with 30% crit rate on all enemies, and also has a 30% chance to inflict poison. So 30% chance, not too bad. You're probably going to want to buff that if you want to use it, although he does get a buff from doing the poison damage. So I feel like this may be something to look into. Even at level 4, plus 100% on top of the 200 here. So that's 300 already in total. And it only costs you 3 Kasane Magatamas if you really want to build this guy up. In that case, poison damage could quite possibly be really strong. This may be one of those units that you can actually use sick brands on. I don't know. It uses an MP6 cost skill, so that would be every other turn that you can cast it. But you wouldn't be able to do it turn 1, and with an agility of 142, you're gonna be relatively fast. It's like a medium fast kind of speed there. However, the HP on this guy is pretty solid, especially with that strength stat being over 200, vitality super high, luck is relatively okay, magic stat is whatever, don't need it. It does have 2 weaknesses though, so I'm not too sure how that's gonna work out here. With weaknesses on a team, it feels like you may want to think about Orcus on that. Or then again, there's the Rama too. And looking at the skills here, it feels like it's kind of easy to pick what you need if you need to cover your weaknesses, which is maybe a big deal on this guy. Then you would go with the teal version because it has 2 weaknesses that it really doesn't help you that much. So there's a chance that that would be the option to go with, especially because it's going to be a little bit faster. You may not need the Enduring Soul from purple, but if you want to be more of like a mid-speed team, then possibly purple's the way to go. Who knows? That's a little bit weird. It's kind of difficult to build around this guy because of those double weaknesses, and especially because it's a weakness to Bufu, which then again you have to deal with that Rama matchup, so it's gonna be sort of a problem. Now moving on to the Spirit Merge form, at least you're getting the Fizz hit rate increase on panel 1, and panel 2 though, it's sort of, you know, it's underwhelming for a panel 2, minus 20% damage from poison enemies, so yeah. The third panel though, kind of good because you don't have a Fizz Pierce effect, so having one on poison enemies is okay. You're gonna have to get them poisoned somehow though, so yeah, you're gonna have to work on that one, and it does require, or may require, another demon. I'm not too sure that's gonna be too good for you. It's not really the standalone type of demon, and if it's not a standalone, it's kinda difficult to fit them into your team unless you're building a whole new team. So yeah, you're gonna have to see about that one. Okay, and moving on to the 4-star Drake Yim. So this is actually one that seems pretty cool. We're gonna take a look at this. The Judgment of Nahar here is its unique skill, activating the chain effect at the beginning of every second turn, and that's going to reduce evasion or accuracy. So it could be useful. Ice damage, again, I don't see too many teal Ramas out there. I feel like that's not going to be a thing either, especially because yellow is just such a superior color. So you don't have to worry too much about AoE Bufu. It should be okay to throw that out. Unless we see some sort of drain Bufu type of team, then not too much we have to worry about. Although you can kind of take them out before this attack goes off because it only goes off in the second turn, so that could be okay. There's not too much in terms of statage on this guy, except that it is pretty close to 200 magic on a 4-star demon, so that's actually pretty good. This is more of your value type of demon here, especially if you're just starting out the game, then Drake Im could be something to look into. Although, I feel like this other 4-star has a kind of a cool meme type of build that you can do. I feel like this thing is really nice with X-Tab, and we'll be going over that. So Drake Nidhogg has binge eating as it's transferable. It's like whatever, but it's just to keep it alive. Enduring Soul, just to keep it alive. And looking at Nestron, this unique skill is pretty cool when I read it the first time. So it activates the following chain effect when an ally is down. Heals own HP by 80% and becomes immune to mortal skills. So I'm not too sure if you're going to be using this guy in PvP, but if you do, then you might throw on Recarm or something so that you can keep reviving your X-Tab, have your X-Tab die, and maybe have another unit that can deal with the Guan Yu, and then your enemy can just eventually kill itself, hopefully, as long as the AI attacks your X-Tab. So it's probably good for the level 1 X-Tab build. I'm not too sure about the consistency of this build, but I'm sure it could be a nice meme. So I don't know if you want to build into this, but it is only a 4-star, so it's possible that you will pull it, and that gives you an option to do that build if you wanted to. It has 2 nulls and 2 weaknesses though, so I'm not too sure if they're going to be hitting the X-Tab unless they're hitting with Hama. So light-based magic is not really that popular. We're going to have to see if it will be though because of the new heralds. Then looking at the archetype skills here, Fog Breath is pretty good, so you're most likely going to be going with something like yellow. Although I can see you using something like teal because no elect, kind of important. Don't really have to cover the light that much. Elect though could be sort of a big deal. That way you don't get cheesed by something like Injijit, for example. And looking at the health stat, this is probably the biggest deal here. Holy moly, at 1300 plus, that is a super solid HP stat. You can definitely throw life brands onto this if you're going yellow, especially because Fog Breath will only cost you 5 MP. The strength stat is way up there, so it can even kind of do some damage. It's a low agility, so this is good in a slow team. I feel like this unit does have a lot of potential. It's just not there yet for the revive combos. We probably need one more unit, and hopefully it can go through things like Null Mortal. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but yeah, seems like some good implications for the future of the game. But on the other hand, looking at 3-star Drake Tiamat, this is just your average 3-star. There are a few things that are okay with it though, because yellow has Silent Prayer and then purple has Mana Aid, which could actually be kind of funny, so it could work out. Mana Aid, just maybe some spell brands on it and just use it for PvE so you can clear up some stuff. Possible good for farming, I don't know. We'll have to see about that. Magic stat at 190, so just at the super good point. It's not too bad. HP 1000, so you don't have to worry about that stat so much. The other stats are kind of just whatever. It is a little bit on the slow side, so you might need some faster people to buff it up, but it is not bad. It's just not that great. It's a 3-star, so I guess don't expect too much from him, but it is a good value unit. I would say that, especially for the purple if you're using it for damage. Now, moving on to the Spirit Merge buffs. Now, this is pretty weird that they would even buff this guy, the Fury Shiva A. Why would you buff Shiva A? This is a phenomenal buff for him. I just want to say, panel 1, increasing physical hit rate already. That's pretty broken on him. Looking at panel 2, you're changing the physical attack that he does into an almighty attack that can crit or miss, I guess, but it's not really going to miss. So that's pretty crazy already. Power 100, that is insane damage for a panel 2. And then looking at panel 3, you're reducing the cost of Third Eye by 1 MP. When you used to have to use Parvati, you no longer have to do that. You can just straight up do it on turn 1 with Divine Brands, because it'll only cost you 6. Yeah, I'm not too sure about this, but it makes Fury Shiva A super, super powerful if you can pull that many of them. Who even needs the Spirit Merge buffs on him? Next, looking at Guan Yu, another character that doesn't really need him, but sure, I mean, it does some crazy things that are unnecessary, but 15% extra critical hit rate is okay. I feel like that's a necessary buff for him to make sure that he does get the crit. That makes him more annoying. So good for you, Guan Yu users. That definitely works out, especially if you have even just 2. Just 2 of them gives you that nice buff here. The extra HP healing on panel 2 plus 30%. I'm looking at this right now. I'm feeling that may be pretty huge. Not too sure though. We'll have to see how that works out. I know that a lot of people can build their Guan Yus really, really tanky with a lot of damage and a lot of crit and a lot of accuracy. So I feel like that is a pretty big buff. Then looking at panel 3, this one was sort of unnecessary. Reducing the cost of Dragon Blade by 1 MP feels like a mistake. It is already spammable, especially because when you kill things, you just get the MP back. I don't understand, but sure, just give it to him. I mean, I don't know if many people are going to be getting 7 copies anyways, so I guess that's okay. But looking at this, there's some hope for the fusibles here. Entity Alilat is getting a really nice buff for an anti-ailment team. So panel 1 already giving you another extra 30% chance of reducing status ailment effects. That gives you just a total of 100% because it already comes with Infernal Mask. That's big. Panel 2 is worthless, but okay. Panel 3 though, giving the extra HP so that it lives longer. Super, super good. This is another prayer unit, maybe silent prayer unit or something that you can just use. You can even use it for your own ailments. Alilat is a lot better now, and especially because all the buffs are just for damage reduction. You have HP and you have Phys Defense and Mag Defense. It's pretty nice. Looking at Lady Cybele here, another 5-star, another fusible. Reduces the cost of fire skills by 1 MP. I feel like that makes spell brands and or life brands more feasible for sure. She was already pretty decent, so giving her a buff to her fire skills, pretty nice. Reducing the fire damage received is probably not that necessary. Still, panel 2, it's whatever. It's just to get you to panel 3, so as long as the demon is alive, plus 10% to fire damage, and plus 10% to healing, it's like, whatever. The fire damage, though, pretty nice. Looking at Jiraiya Gog Magog, this guy, I don't know if they did enough for him. I feel like he should have gotten an innate Fizz Pierce, but not everybody can have that because that's not for the fusibles. They can't just give that away. In any case, boosting the Fizz hit rate is not that bad. He definitely needed it as a slower unit. He wasn't that reliable to hit Earthquake, so this could be the buff that he needed. And looking at panel 2, reducing the fizz damage from all your allies is nice. This is like a better AoE reduction Siegfried, so that could be nice for PvE. I don't know how good it'll be for PvP, because some people would just use single targets anyways, especially because we're heading towards a single target meta. It is okay. Overall, it is okay, more so for PvE. Looking at panel 3 here, as long as the demon is alive, minus 30% to critical hit rate. That's more geared towards PvP, I suppose, but it is also so you don't get cheesed in PvE. So it's okay, it's not that bad. But, ending off on the Spirit Merge buffs is Kartikeya. Fury Kartikeya is expensive as a fusible, but definitely worth it. This solidifies her as the fastest demon, although there could have been competitors. No longer is that the case. Panel 1 reduces the cost of Mortal Jihad by 1 MP, so it makes it a little bit more spammable. It's not like you're really using Divine Brands anyways, so it wasn't a big deal. It's more so for the speed, or the evasion, I guess. And then looking at panel 2 though, plus 30% to battle speed. That's super huge. That is amazing because she's already the fastest, or tied for the fastest, and now no longer is that the case. And panel 3, as long as you're alive, plus 10% to critical hit rate is nice. The extra fizz hit rate at plus 5% though is, I don't know if that's worth the panel 3. So going up to panel 2, or just panel 2 really, is all you need on Kartikeya, and then she is super amazing as your speed demon. So that is all of the new demons and the Spirit Merge buffs for patch 2.6.0 for SMT Dx2. I want to know what you guys think about the changes in the comment section below, so let it rip. I know this is a weird set of buffs to do, especially for 2 units, Shiva A and Guan Yu, that did not need it. Maybe Poison will be a thing in the future, who knows? Maybe we'll have a possible meme team with Ixtab and Nidhogg, so we're gonna have to see about that. But overall, I feel like this is a good step towards progress for DX2, especially for the PvP scene, because we really need a change out of this Fizz meta and this insta-kill meta. It's nice to see more mages being more relevant. I feel like adding in niche hard counter units to the game would be the right choice, although they wouldn't be good against a lot of the other teams out there in the meta. They would be super powerful against the ones that are really annoying to deal with in the current meta, so that maybe people won't use them as much. I know that Parvati was like a pretty good way of dealing with that, but now it feels like she's more used on offense, and that is not what we were trying to do. We were trying to fix the offense meta that could just beat everything. And that's difficult for defense to win. So if we had more niche teams, it would probably vary up the way defense teams are built. And that way you can't just go into random PvP with one team and slaughter everything. As it seems, they're not going in the direction of hard counters just yet. They're trying to go for these like slight counters that are somewhat good that you can maybe pull for. So anyways, this has been Kiyodo. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Later.